I'm Anushree Rabadia from Masters Painting second year, and these are my works. Abstract minimalist style of painting. I practice with the framework of weaving, keeping that in mind, and I get influenced with my surroundings and the nature. So in India, we have all the processions and all for the as it is, traditional and cultural. So for as an artist, I have depicted procession. So these is a queue of lines, the queue, and then the queue is vanishing. So it's like the procession, the line of processions. I am influenced with my surroundings and nature and music because I'm from a background where I've done Indian classical music. Music influences my work, so you'll have the flow and the rhythm in my works. Slightly. I listen to it while making my works, and I have optical illusion and the play of light and shadow in my works. So for example, this work from one side you'll see colors emerging, but from the other, you'll only see the structure of what I've made. Yes, I do relief, structural relief work. This is how I started in my fourth year. So I've shown the entire process from fourth year to master's second year in my display.
Vishal Kumar Gupta. I am from Ranchi, Jharkhand. I did my bachelor's from Santiniketan Kala Bhavan, and now I am studying MSc Vadodara. So I started my practice from landscape and trees in different medium and materials. I explored lots of things like sculpture, painting, drawing. So after coming Baroda, in my surrounding like fragmented and wounded tree parts, I documented for photography, video, and drawings. Is what is in pastel and splashing color, squeezing. See the thickness of this work. Yeah. And in these forms also looks like some animal figure and some hand. Like fountain pen on tracing paper. These are my drawings.
My work based on fertility, male-female union, sex-related, and I try to capture flower fertility and human fertility, compare in my art. I use multiple media in my work. This is my marble inlay work. Power of birth image. I use in the mother of pearl and natural stone. This is also another work. Ceramic. This is my watercolor work. His name is Creation. This work name is Bloodline. His name is Genesis. Its name is Union. Is there another work? This title is Woman. Its name is Trains. Time of Life. Its name is Mother. Days of Life. Transformation. Watercolor. Cloth collage on embroidery. Try to capture multiple stitches in my work.
मेरा नाम प्रतीक दामोर है। मैंने अपना बैचलर्स विद्यानगर से किया है और अभी मास्टर्स मेरा एमएससी ऑफ फैकल्टी ऑफ फाइन आर्ट्स से है, बड़ौदा। अपने काम में बहुत सारे इमोशनल एस्पेक्ट देखता हूँ। ड्रेपरीज पेंट करना ज्यादा पसंद है। जो ड्रेपरीज के फोल्ड है तो मैं उसको ब्यूटीफाई करता हूँ, और अभी करंट प्रोसेस में मैं अपने इमोशनल एस्पेक्ट उसके साथ मर्ज करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। ये मेरा पहला काम है। जो मैंने ड्रेपरीज के फोल्ड, इसमें मैंने बड़ौदा सिटी दिखाने की कोशिश की है। और ये जो ऑब्जेक्ट है वो फैकल्टी ऑफ आर्ट्स में जो म्यूरल्स थे वहां से लिया था और मोजेक था। और ये सिटी को मेरे विजन से मैंने दिखाने की कोशिश की है। ये पूरा काम मैंने अपने कैनवास को पूरा ऐसे दबा के क्रम्बल कर दिया था, फिर उसमें से सारे फोल्ड्स मैंने बाहर निकाले थे। तो उसमें से जो एक मेरे को लैंडस्केप मिला है, वो कलर के साथ खेलते खेलते जिसमें ये सारे फोल्ड्स है, जो क्रम्बल्ड फोल्ड्स है, उसको मैंने रिपेंट करके हाईलाइट किया है। तो ये वाला जो काम है वो मैंने एक सिटीस्केप बनाने की कोशिश की थी, वो भी ड्रेपरीज के फोल्ड से। फिर बाद में मैंने उसको पेंट किया है। इसके पीछे मेरा एक और पुराना काम था, जो ये रेड लाइन थी, इसके पीछे एक फिगरेटिव वर्क था ये वाली लाइन से। फिर उसको मैंने पूरा दबा दिया अपने दूसरे काम की। स्पिरिचुअल वे में एक प्रपोर्शन था जो मैं पिलोज के साथ कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश किया था। पिलो ऐसा एक इमोशनल मीडियम है जिससे लोग उस पे रोते हैं, अकेले जब होते हैं तो उसके साथ रोना पसंद करते हैं। किसी और इंसान के साथ नहीं, पर पिलो के ऊपर जरूर रोया होगा। और फिर स्लीप भी उसके साथ बहुत कनेक्टेड है, कि अपने सपने भी उसके साथ देखते हैं। तो फिर मैंने पिलो को एक ऐसे इमोशनल अटैचमेंट के साथ कनेक्ट किया है। फिर मेरी पिलो की सीरीज स्टार्ट हुई थी। ये 6 फीट के काम है।
My name is Ganga Narayanan. Completed my bachelor's from MSU Baroda, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in mural from the same. I'm very much interested in patterns. I did a miniature painting workshop with Mr. Ajay Sharma back in 2018. I think that really got me interested in what I'm doing right now. That you see in the Persian miniature paintings and the Indian miniature paintings, the repetitive patterns, I think that has interested me so much to the extent that since the last 4 or 5 years, I've been sticking to it, and it has come to me very naturally. I learned Carnatic music as a very young girl. I started at the age of 4, and I learned for like 11, 12 years. And you see how the rhythmic patterns exist over there as well. These are actually the Jali patterns that you see in Delhi. Like, I grew up around the monuments. I grew up visiting monuments in Delhi with my family. Like, every week we have picnics. Like, when we were very young, we used to love visiting India Gate, the Sundar Gardens, and the Sundar Nursery, as we call it. It's near the Humayun's tomb. I've taken inspiration from the Jali patterns that you can see over here. Put them along with this work, which is actually the Kerala roof tiles that you see over there. This is the traditional way how they make it over there. It supports the climate in Kerala, and it keeps the house cool as well. They are made of terracotta, the traditional way of building the roof. You see over here the shading, everything is made with single lines, and I use a miniature brush, and it is curved in nature. So like there is one stand which is like which stands separate from the rest, and that one particular hair makes most of my work, which gives me the details that I require for my work. I did my internship in conservation very recently. That has also inspired me a lot. Like, there you can see that there are certain fragments that come out of paintings as they get old. And I think that's very beautiful because you can understand the passing of time. And over here, this is one such work that I have used elements from the Agra fort, And you can see the jali patterns over here. And while working on this, I was thinking that if Shah Jahan was here one day, you would see how it is not as eternal as he thought it would be when he made it. He must have thought that it was eternal, but today we are conserving it. That is why it is eternal. But someday it is also going to go away, and it is not something that is going to stay forever. There are certain areas where I've painted over the negative space. So there are different layers to it. Like for example, over here, you will be able to see very lightly. If you go close, you'll be able to see how there's a very light pattern. This is the way I work. A cityscape, which reminds me of Delhi. And the color of the rice paper, which is a bit yellow in nature, it reminds me of the time right after Diwali. Everything is sepia in color. You can see nothing at that time. That is quite Delhi, considering it. Here also I've used repetitive patterns. I do not use any kind of a stencil. So each pattern is made with hand, and there's a certain precision that I feel is required when I'm doing my works. It's called Nature Enthusiast. This particular painting, it has a certain anecdote attached to it. I'm a big fan of jackfruit curry, well-known curry. If you look at a jackfruit, it has certain patterns with it, which is like kind of pentagonal at the bottom, and at the top it comes as a very sharp pointed thing. And that also kind of interested me, and it reminded me of the same patterns that I often use in my works. Mom was making a curry that day. She had actually kept the peels aside with onions, the jackfruit peels. I somehow found a certain landscape attached to it. So I started painting that, and as it developed, it started taking the form of a figure of some kind. Like if you notice over here, you can see a small bird sort of a figure. You can see a creature just trying to run or walk or something, like a mobile creature. It reminds jackfruit peels. They remind me of some kind of a like a part of a tree or something. It's a landscape that I've created with pieces of jackfruit.
Myself Ravindra Sarvaiya. I belong from Jamnagar. I did my diploma in CN College of Fine Arts, and currently I'm pursuing my post graduation in MSU Baroda Fine Arts in painting department. उत्पत्ति करके मतलब सब्जेक्ट रखा था कि क्रिएशंस कैसे होता है। तो एक सीड्स बनाया, एप्पल को मैंने कट किया तो वो मेल एंड फीमेल का दोनों का वर्जन होके वो बनता है। फॉर्म मैंने उसमें यूज किया था। देन उसको पेस्टल में पार्टिकल्स जो यूनिवर्स के उसको दिखाने के लिए पेस्टल यूज करता था। तो उसमें मैं स्टडी कर रहा था कि जो बेसिक एलिमेंट्स है यूनिवर्स के, तो हाइड्रोजन, हीलियम और लिथियम, तो उसके कलर्स मतलब हबल जो टेलीस्कोप है वो ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट फोटो खींचता है। फिर यहाँ से जो जिसका फ्रीक्वेंसी ज्यादा है उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो लोग कलर्स मतलब देते हैं। तो कलर्स जो देते हैं वो कलर पैलेट में लेके फिर मैंने ये बनाया था। ये सब मेरे काम थे पहले के, वो भी ऐसे दिमाग में चल रहे हैं और नया कैसे करूँ वो भी चल रहा है सर। तो स्पोर्ट्स के अकॉर्डिंग में ये फिजिकलिटीज एक नॉर्मल पीपल और स्पोर्ट्समैन का जो सीटिंग है वो कैसा रहता है, यहाँ से मेरा स्टार्ट हुआ जो पेंटिंग मैंने डिस्प्ले की हुई है अभी। यहाँ पे मैंने वो स्पोर्ट्स और वो लेके एक फिर अप्रोच किया कि साइंस और स्पोर्ट्स को मर्ज कर सकते हैं। मैंने बेसिकली बहुत सारी गेम्स देखता रहता हूँ। वो भाला फेंक में एक जंप आता है, लॉन्ग जंप में आता है, बास्केटबॉल का एक जंप आता है, वो तीन जंप को मर्ज करके और उसके अकॉर्डिंग उसका ग्रेविटी और एयर कैसा रहेगा एनवायरनमेंट में, तो वो मैं देख रहा था। स्पिनिंग और लॉस वाला मूवमेंट होता है वो जंप के बाद, तो ये तीन चार चीज को मर्ज करके क्या होता है वो मैं फाइंड कर रहा था। पेस्टल से ऐसा पॉसिबिलिटी है जिससे मैं पार्टिकल्स दिखा सकता हूँ। डेली वॉलीबॉल हम कॉलेज में खेलते थे। वॉलीबॉल में जैसे जंप करते हो और उसके साथ साथ आप देखते हो तो एथलेटिक जितने भी फिगर है वो मुझे अट्रैक्ट करते थे, वो मुझे समझ में आया, उसको लेके फिर बनाया। रग्बी देख रहा था और उसके साथ साथ फिर मैं अपना बॉडी भी एंगेज करना चाहता था कि फिजिकलिटी कैसे मैं दिखाऊं। मुझे कोई पर्टिकुलर प्लेयर ऐसा कुछ पसंद नहीं था। उसका जो फिजिकलिटीज है, उसका जो एनर्जी है, वो मूवमेंट्स है, एक्शंस है, वो मुझे ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव कर रहा था कि मूवमेंट्स देना, फिर एक्शंस है। तो ये सब सब मुझे मेरे ऊपर आता है तो वो कैसा रहेगा। तो फिर वहां से सर मैंने स्केल शुरू किया कि स्केल में अगर मैं बड़ा स्केल में जाता हूँ तो वो मुझे भी एफर्ट करना पड़ेगा उसमें। कुश्ती के ऊपर मैंने बनाया है, और उसको वो अगर दूसरी साइड फेंकेगा तो वो एक मूवमेंट्स पूरा वाइब्रेशन होता है। तो वो डार्क एंड लाइट वाला जो है कि वो फेंकेगा तो जीतेगा या हारेगा, वो विनिंग लॉस वाला एक दो सिचुएशन, और ये कुश्ती का एनर्जी। तो उसको लेके फिर वापस से जंप के ऊपर फिर किया। मैंने वो दो जो आदमी होते हैं, एक मतलब फिजिकलिटी नहीं है वो जिसका है अच्छा वाला, तो ये दो का एक सिचुएशन बताया। कोई विकेट लेता है या फिर कुछ मूवमेंट जो स्पोर्ट्स में आता है जहाँ से वो टीम के लिए बेनिफिट होता है। तो वो एक मूवमेंट पे दो प्लेयर्स ऐसे मतलब गले मिल जाते हैं, वो नेचर वाला ग्रीन और वो दो प्लेयर्स का एक मूवमेंट। तो वो सबको मिला के एक एनवायरनमेंट कैसे बनेगा। सर ये छोटे छोटे हैं, तो ये ऑन फ्लाई है। ऑयल पेस्टल ऑन कैनवास।
I'm Sneha Lakhotia and I'm from Kolkata and I did my bachelor's from Delhi College of Art and I'm doing my master's here. So today I want to showcase my work, like what I believe in. Idea is the space where I play is the blurred light. It's in between the dream and the reality. This is the project on sleep and the name of the project is Sleep Ka Pitara. Neen Ka Pitara, like in Hindi, sleep project. So this is a DIY project that I started during COVID. So this is the book which I started, and the whole idea, the I play with absurd humor a lot. So the this project started during COVID times when I started buying chamomile tea bags, and as a cure to help me sleep. And then I started using scrap materials and the used tea bags to create objects out of it. So this is one of the objects. Wait just a minute. Yeah. So here I'm using medicine leaf, safety pins, and chamomile tea. Yeah. So this is called sleep potpourri. You have ingredients, how to the recipe and the usage, and then this is the visual imagery of that, how you can make this. So there are a lot of objects like this. I experimented, and that's the fun that I'm saying, but few work, few doesn't work. But still, I'm trying to raise awareness around sleep and trying to talk about something which is so serious topic in a humorous way. So these are few objects. Took me 2 months to make this, the whole body of. I faced this problem for a period, some time, and I was just thinking about what to do. And for me, art always worked as a therapy. So that's how I started. Art can act as a tool where you can raise awareness, you can help each other as a community. And that's how I look at art, not just as the self expression, but how can I, you know. So, so this is something which I started this book, and this is an archive of that. So this project was part of Student Binale, Kochi in Kochi. So this is the concept note of, and this is the installation that I did there. So it's an attic space as I write a lot. So these are the objects here. It's an attic space that I got, and I wanted to showcase, like I wanted to show it as a story, like you are entering somebody's space where somebody is trying to sleep using these tools, but they are unable to, and using an attic space was already too absurd idea. Trying to understand how sleep has been represented in like literature, art, poetry, other forms. So this is this one. And so my works are not just based on sleep. Sleep is something I worked on, but I really enjoy drawing, and mark making is something I really enjoy. And how the usage of space, and so there's a lot of dreamy quality to it, but there's just these lines in between which I work. Reality and dream, you can say, somewhere in between. So I like to keep the narratives open in my visual space which I'm working on, and so I'm just so these are the so I really enjoy collage. So this is also part of my work. So these are the photographs that are taken by me, and I got it printed on cartridge paper, and I use it as a collage to weave this work. My works are based on my experiences when I maintain a sketchbooks also. So I try to create a journal. Like, so this is one of the sketchbook that I've presented here. So if you flip through it, it's kind of a journal. When I started, but then I feel sleep is not something like sleep. It's not just about pandemic that it came on the surface. So something it shows us how like as a this present culture how we are moving forward as a humanity and after capitalism and a lot of history and literature to it how we are so distressed and stress and anxiety is part of our I think well-being right now and so sleep is just the layer through which we can talk about lot of things which comes together with it. I feel these are photographs, but these are collage. Like it's done manually. I'll just show a few of them.
My works are based on houses and the idea of home as space, and in regards to middle class urban sprawls in India. And I document houses across the city of Vadodara and wherever I live. These are watercolors. So about recreating walls of the urban sprawls across the city, especially middle class houses, and I recreate the spaces and walls, and it's about the memories behind the walls. And these are carvings on like wood, plywood, and yeah, these are holographs.